Top cameras that don't break the budget. First on the list is Canon EOS R10. Why do I love this camera? Because it does offer you great colors out of the body, so you don't have to do a lot and you get like modern Canon good looking colors. Same for the footage, for the video recording. So it does offer you also a very good autofocus system that is not as good as the one in Sony, but it's pretty good. So if you want something that tracks your eye, tracks your face, it's there. So very good stuff. Not that good stuff, it lacks image stabilization and there's no flat profile, but you have very good looking 4K 30 frames per second oversampled from 6K, and you have very good 4K 60 frames per second in crop mode. So basically, if you want something that looks good straight from the camera, you don't need a lot of post-production, this camera is a very good choice for you. You may be worried about lens selection for Canon EOS like APS-C system, but now Sigma is stepping in, so you have more and more variety of lenses from Sigma, and these lenses are basically better than native Canon lenses in this case, so there's nothing to worry about. As for the day of recording, we have $879 for Canon EOS R10, body only. If you had some inexpensive Sigma lens, or you start with included kit lens, you're good to go. You have a very nice travel and daily usage camera. Now, second on the list is Fujifilm X-T30 Mark II. I reviewed it like a couple years ago, and that was one of the most popular reviews on my channel, so I guess there's a lot of people liking this camera, and I understand why. First of all, this retro look. If you want to look good with the camera, Fujifilm X-T30 Mark II is a good choice. And I do recommend Mark II because there are some substantial upgrades. It got some firmware updates since the release, so there's a lot of improvement here. So you have a 26 megapixel APS-C, Fujifilm sensor inside. So you have these legendary colors. It looks practically the same as like legendary 100 X100 Mark V. And you can actually buy it, and it's not that expensive. So for $999, you're getting a very good looking camera with autofocus joystick and very decent autofocus performance. You get 4K at 30 frames per second, 8-bit, and HD in 120 frames per second. And I gotta tell you that this 120 frames per second HD from Fujifilm with film simulations that are are part of Fujifilm system, it looks good. It's great for street photography. It's great for traveling with. You have amazing variety of lenses, and actually Fujifilm system comes second after Sony when it comes to the variety of lenses. You have TT Artesian, you have Viltrox, you have a lot of lenses. You have Sigmas that are there for Fujifilm system. So this is a great camera to travel, and if you are looking for something lightweight and compact, you have even like Brightening Star or TT Artesian, like these 28mm lenses, or this kind of focal length, and those lenses are tiny, very small, and very light. Very good choice. But if you want something even cheaper and even lighter and even smaller, but you don't mind not having the EVF, so something that you can put your eye to, you have Fujifilm X-M5. It reminds me of my beloved Panasonic GM1, and I'm really hoping Panasonic will upgrade GM1 series anytime soon, because that would be a big thing. But it's not an APS-C camera, okay? GM1 Panasonic, it's micro four thirds. Anyways, this camera is small, it's lightweight, and it's more vlog centric. So if you are looking for something to shoot videos on the go, vlog on the go, something light and small, this camera is fantastic. Fujifilm X-M5 is different from X-T30 Mark II because it's not typical Fuji. The handling is more modern, so you have this PASM dial to choose your modes from, and I actually personally prefer that. You have this switch for Fujifilm looks. It is cheap because you can buy it for $899 now. It doesn't have EVF, but it does have autofocus joystick, and it does come with new chip, which means better autofocus system, 4K 30 FPS, 10 bits 4:2, and you can shoot open gate, so you can use whole sensor, so you can then crop it to horizontal or vertical, and you have 4K 60 frames per second, 10 bits with crop. But come on, for such a small body, no brainer, and you are at $899. So again, variety of lenses, great choice. Next one on the list is the first Sony here, Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. Yes, you can still buy Mark I, and yes, it's still a very good purchase, but I do recommend ZV-E10 Mark II because it does have the same sensor as FX30. So in other words, you can say it's a poor man's FX30. So that things were not possible before. Now you have an access to 4K, 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and 10 bits. You have S-Log, you have S-Log 3, you have HLG, you have Cinetone, so you have professional color profiles to grade the footage and to make it look good. The biggest downside here, because there's no cameras that have no flows, is no image stabilization. So you are better off with image stabilized lenses, which limits your choice a little bit if you need image stabilization, of course, but still, if you want this image stabilization, you can turn on digital one, but of course it will crop your image. There's no EVF in this camera because it's very vlog and video centric, but that's not a big deal because you have very good and, you know, articulating screen, rotating, flipping, and, you know, doing all the stuff. And there's no autofocus joystick. So these are the downsides of this camera, but you have this modern handling like PSAM, and this camera is relatively inexpensive for what it can do, specifically taking into consideration a fantastic, the best on the list, autofocus performance. So you pay $1,098 at the time of recording of this video, and you're getting the best autofocus system. Next on the list is the first full-frame camera. So Sony a7 Mark III, despite many years since the initial release, it still holds up so well, and this is amazing. So this camera I would recommend more for people that are photography oriented. So you have a very, very good performing sensor that performs wonderfully in low light, so you can, you know, crank up this ISO value up to 6400, and there's, I'm not saying no noise because that's A7S III, but there's little noise. But the main feature to me here is that dynamic range of that sensor is amazing. So interior photography, real estate photography, travel photography, landscape photography, wedding photography, it can all be done with that camera. Still, the autofocus is very good. It detects face, it's very snappy, it's very fast. So you know, the downside is that the viewfinder is okay, but the screen is just, you know, is just articulates like that, but it doesn't flip out. So recording yourself is a little tricky here, and the screen quality after all those years since the initial release date is not that great. But being honest, it's completely enough to, you know, like frame your shots, to frame your videos, whatever you're doing. You have only 8-bit here, but you have 4K at 30 frames per second and Full HD at 120 frames per second. But for many of you, this would be enough. Even to run the YouTube channel nowadays, this is enough. You can use HLG profile and even do some color grading with that. So that's a great package. And on top of that, you're getting pretty decent image in-body image stabilization. So A7 III at $1,298 at the time of recording, and you can buy it in many places cheaper because there's a lot of promos on this camera. It is still a great camera. In 2018 it was revolutionary. Now it's just great for its price, and this is full frame. But if you want to stick to this under $1,000 level and you want a full frame camera, there's no other choice than Canon RP. It's the cheapest full frame camera on the market still, and it is surprisingly good. It doesn't have that dynamic range of A7 Mark III, it doesn't have as effective autofocus system as A7 Mark III, but still it's not bad. There's no in-body image stabilization, you only have digital image stabilization. If you want image stabilization that works actually well, you need an image stabilized lens. But the colors are very nice. I love the colors out of Canon RP. The, you know, raw files that come out of it are pretty good. If you just underexpose a little, you'll get a very decent results, but it still finds your face and detects the eye. So you can easily use it as a wedding photographer, for example, or you can easily use it as a travel camera. It is small, lightweight, but make sure to take a couple of battery packs because, in opposite to Sony A7 III that lasts forever on one battery, Canon RP tends to die pretty quickly. But still, for $899, having a full frame camera with good autofocus system and nice color science, it's a no-brainer if you're looking for something cheap to start with. The last one on the list here maybe not the last because I'll have one bonus recommendation, but one on the last one on the main list is the newest one on this list. It's Nikon Z50 Mark II. While I wasn't very much in love with Z50, all the problems of Z50 Mark I were addressed by Nikon, and very good job, Nikon. So you have 21 megapixel sensor, same quality, but you have new chip. And what comes with the new chip? New autofocus performance. You now have subject detection. You have flat profiles, so you have N-Log and HLG, and you can now record in 10 bits 4:2. So basically what it means, if you want to do some color grading, if you want to have more like ambitious approach towards video production, this camera allows you to do that. It has better ergonomics, and over USB-C now you can use it as a webcam. You also have this flippy out screen in opposite to the older solution. So amazing choice for nowadays. Now it's $906, so it's around $900. So that makes it a very good deal. And I would say that Nikon comes third when it comes to variety of lenses. For like first is Sony, like no competition here. Second is Fujifilm. Third is Nikon, and fourth is Canon, but as I said, Canon is redeemed by Sigma now. But here you have, for example, Viltrox lenses. That I love Viltrox lenses. Not only they send me like their lenses to reviews, but those lenses are really good and really inexpensive. Like, I'm not biased here, I just like their lenses, and whatever I tested in recent years, it was great. The bonus one here, it's a little more expensive, but it's an amazing APS-C hybrid camera that I think many people overlooked, is Fujifilm X-S20. I love Fujifilm X-S10, I've been using it for many years, and X-S20 is just even better. So basically you have a very good hybrid camera with very decent autofocus performance that was improved by many firmware updates. You have an amazing Fujifilm color science, so if you like Fujifilm look, you get it here. You have very good image stabilization that actually I prefer over Sony's image stabilization. There's a little less jerkiness there. And most importantly to me, you have 4K, 60 frames per second, you have 10 bits recording, so you can grade it in post, and you have a very, very good and easy to work with, my preferred F-Log, and very good native LUTs that you can download from Fujifilm's website, and you can convert these F-Log videos to any look you want. So if you want, like, I don't know, Fuji Velvia, one of the Fujifilm looks, you have a conversion LUT that converts N-Log into this final profile, so you can easily grade your footage and make it look cool, but just one LUT. So very, very nice camera. The handling is more like modern. So this is like PASM, so PASM dial there on the top, which me, as I said before, personally prefer. You have flippy out screen, everything good quality, everything works. It's $1,299, so it's a little more expensive. But if you can hunt for some promos, I do recommend this camera. It's a wonderful camera that I'm actually using to shoot video, like wedding videos. So no more recommendation here. I hope you guys like my list. If you see any other cameras on this list that I forgot to mention, because there's a lot of cameras on the market, please don't hesitate to comment on the, below, leave thumbs up, subscribe, it helps me a lot, and I hope to see you guys. Oh no, I'm not hoping, I'm sure that I will see you guys in the next recording on my channel. Cheers.